So again, welcome everyone. Um, there's any other question from this morning again? Before we jump in. Um, yes, yes,
Lynn, please unmute.
yes, please.
Yes, thank you for the teachings, Geshe-la. These are great. I have a question about the prep for the teachings, and it said to read the Zorcho.
Uh-huh.
Is that the preliminary part of the Lama Chopa, or is that a small booklet published by the Library of Tibetan Works and Archive?
Uh-huh. I think the recommendation that I recommended or suggested was the six Georgia that you find in the Pabonga Rinpoche's Liberation Palm at the very beginning, that one, because that one covered the seven limb practice, purification, accumulation, merit, all are in that. So normally we have this Georgia practice, that is different. The Georgia practice is sometimes you see Georgia and Lama Choba combined together, and sometimes you do just Georgia. So that is, but it doesn't, in Georgia practice itself, it doesn't have the explanation, it's just a practice. But if you go to the Pabonga Rinpoche's, um, Georgia 2, the six preliminary. So in that section, then he explained all the six limb practices, and also mandala, 35 Buddhas, all of them, little bit. So that will be that will enhance the study that we are doing here. So then you might get even some more informations and from there. Yeah. So that was what I was kind of suggesting.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Okay, thank you. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, sometimes when we hear preliminary Ngöndro and 100,000, and that seems kind of scary. Sounds lot. Uh, but it's nice to have those practice. It can help you in. I just give you an example. In my own cases. Just like this morning cautions. I think it's Nicole. I think. Is it Nicole, or I think maybe it was Nicole who asked about asking the teachers about who was that? No, it was about afraid to ask. Yeah. Oh, it was yeah, and that is me too. Yeah. So I never asked Rinpoche. I think, I was also a little afraid. So I never asked Rinpoche, But like I came to, Rinpoche asked me to go to Taos, and after my graduation, Gume, and then Kopan teaching for a little while for the young monks in 2001. And then I came, and I was in Taos for a couple of years, 2.5 years, and then I asked Rinpoche if I can go back. Ask for permissions. And when I asked Rinpoche because I want to do a retreat, and Rinpoche accepted, and Rinpoche, but I didn't ask exactly the Ngöndro practice. But of course, then Rinpoche started giving me, not really Ngöndro other practice, The Rinpoche gave me different practices, advice, and I kind of write it down. And so I didn't ask, but I got a lot of practice, you know. Uh, and one of them was, reciting Dhammapada Sutra 10,000s. That was kind of a little bit kind of different from normal Ngöndro, all other Ngöndro. Some Ngöndro he gave. Some he didn't give, but I still did. And then I was trying to read Dhammapada Sutra, and it was taking me at that time 45 minutes. So I calculated. If I rest 5 hours, 6 hours a day, how much I finish, and then calculating one here, it takes me 3 years to complete the whole 10,000. Even I don't do anything, just, and so, maybe a couple of years later, um, in Sarah, I think, no, I think it was Sarah. I sent a message through a attendant. Last time Rinpoche gave me different practice, and this is one of the practice Rinpoche gave me, and I said, it. When I calculated, it took me 3 years just to do this once, and I said, "Can I do some, and can I sponsor?" Can I sponsor for the monks and nuns to do some? You know? So you just know how I am. you know. And then I got a message, and the attendant Rinpoche laugh and laugh, and then Rinpoche says, "No, you do yourself, and don't think it's Ngöndro that you have to do now, but think as a lifetime commitments. You can do slowly. You don't have to feel that as a Ngöndro you have to do everything before you start lumbering or whatever other practice you want to do. So that make a little bit kind of more relaxed, a little bit more easier, because and then and that is also advice I heard from many other students. That is advice from Moshe gave, that they can take those different practices he gave as a lifetime. You don't have to finish now or in 10 years or in 15 years. As long as it takes, and if you die without being able to finish, it's fine. You just have the intentions to do it, and sometimes things happens before you are able to do it. So you are not really breaking the guru's advice or instructions. So anyway, and after that, then I make decision that I need to do, and then I request, since I'm going to do, I request oral transmissions, and Rinpoche kindly gave the oral transmissions, and I started doing that. And it was helpful, because normally, when you have, of course, I had my own. I was the copan, running the school, so kind of busy. Morning 8 to, you know 9, 10 evening sometime. The school runs from 8 to 4. Then we have break. Then the philosophy class starts, debate, and also you have to kind of also So not it's not only the school for the young monks, but also for the senior monks where they have the Geshe program, the debate. So and that go through until 10. And so it's a busy, but still, of course, in between, sometimes you get times, and also other times. And so since I have that practice, whenever I have time, I try to do that, make the decision to do that. And normally I might be just chatting with other friends, for hours, a couple of hours here and there. I start doing that and I have no time for chatting. So I use the time better. Normally I have time, then maybe I might be just chatting, with a friend. So, but since I have, then I felt like I need to go and do that. So in that way, it helped me to use the time more meaningful in that way. And also when I was traveling and teaching, waiting at the airport or wherever, I started to do, Um, so if the plane get delayed, I don't mind. Oh, I have one more hour to do, 2 more hours to do. So instead of being frustrated or whatever because your plane is delaying, you just have to be more. It gave me more kind of joy, in a way, because I felt like I got more time to do that. So in a way, it kind of some it guided in a way to having that practice. If I didn't have that practice, then maybe I might have a different attitude, in such situations, you know. And so, and that was very helpful. And then after some years, I finished. And at the very beginning, I did it because I had to do it. I was given, not necessarily I really enjoy doing it, you know. But after time, I started enjoying it. I really start enjoying it. And now, even I have finished my commitment long time ago. I still do it every day. And it's not a commitment, anything, but I enjoy doing it. So I continue to recite at least once a day. And so, and that is the thing, a lot of those practice, maybe at the very beginning, you might not enjoy it. It might not give you as much inspirations. But as you start doing it with the time, then as you get familiar with the practice, as you get to know the practice better because you have been doing for a while, then you started to enjoy, you started to like it, and then it doesn't become kind of burden or something. But you just do it because um, you enjoy doing it, you like doing it. So, and I think a lot of time that, when Rinpoche give a lot of those different commitment onto, I think that is how it, just as it helped me, I think it helped a lot of people in that way, similar way. And so having something to focus on and trying to, then, it can help, how to spend the time. But without, being too, also you have to relax also too. Don't, when you feel like then again, sometimes we might push ourselves too much. And again, that become obstacles. Then again, um, and then you can have physical and emotional breakdown sometimes. Those are the things you have to be very um, aware, have those aware and listening to your body, listening to your mind, knowing when to relax, knowing when to push yourself a little bit. Those are the things that you have to, when you are too lazy, we need to push a little bit. But when we really need to relax, rest, because your body need it, or sometimes your mind need it, you have to learn how to do that. and so that you don't kind of have nervous breakdown or physical breakdowns. Then if that happens, then again it becomes obstacles, and those are the things that we try to manage. You have to learn and to manage it, not to. I think because one of the things I find in modern world, and especially in the West, people seem to push themselves too much, and then they have sometimes physical breakdown, sometimes emotional, nervous breakdown, and so I think it is again it's not so healthy when you end up in that kind of situations. We have to think long term, and so it's important to practice, but to be relaxed and patience and yeah, gentle and kind to yourself. You know. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that because of the caution this morning. Yes,
This question just came up just now after lunch. Some of us have daily practice, so we're trying to figure out how do you balance Ngöndro with um, daily practice. If we just
daily
kind of
practice.
a daily
Uh
practice,
huh.
if we have initiation,
Uh huh.
which one to prioritize?
Uh huh. Yeah, I think daily practice. I think I don't know yourself, but in my cases, I took those empowerment. Uh, some of them young when I didn't understood. you know, uh, some I took later, and even though maybe I feel I'm not really ready there, but maybe I just wanted to have imprint of those because it's rare, so that at least even you cannot make progress, at least you have the imprint, so you continue to meet tantric teachings, practice in the future, so you can work on. But the focus should be on the foundation, the lamrim, and Ngöndro, the preliminaries are part of that. Um, and the daily practice, of course, we have commitment, so you at least you try to do the commitment. Even if you cannot spend so much time to do all the visualization in all details and spend a lot of time in that, but at least you try to do the commitments that is required to do in as in whatever way you can. But I think the priority should be on the lumbering. That is what I personally feel, at least for myself. You know, if I don't have bodhicitta, wisdom realizing emptiness, then lots of those daily practice are not effective and helpful because you don't have those foundations. Because those practices are supposed to be on the basis of those foundations, you know. And with all daily practice, we dissolving the emptiness. From emptiness, you arise, and whatever daily you arise, we just at the moment we are just visualizing instead of actually really wisdom manifesting that because we don't have that wisdom. But once you have developed that wisdom, then it's not just visualizing, imagining. You have that wisdom, that tool to visualize into that form, and then that practice become powerful and powerful. Um, so therefore, and same with the bodhicitta mind at the moment, we try to cultivate bodhicitta motivations but it is not kind of spontaneous or kind of effortless, And again, when you don't have that, the practice you engage in the daily practice, sending the light from your heart, from the deity's heart, and then, you know, purifying, and then the environment, the place, sentient beings, and leading them to fully enlightenment. Again, all of them kind of become merely visualization, because that is what. But if you have real bodhicitta, then you can go much more than that. And so I think the practice become much more real. The daily practice become much more real. And so for me, that is how I feel it. And I was sometimes I say, that I realized that I need to go back to basic and focus on the basic, the foundations. I realized that when you don't have basic strong foundations, then all this higher level of practice doesn't have as it doesn't become as powerful, effective as it should. And the reason is not because the practice does not is not powerful and effective, but because we don't have the basic good foundation of that practice. And so for me, even when I'm trying to do more, finding time more for myself, you know, trying to find more for the Ngöndro and as a preparation for the Lamrim, and the focus is Lamrim, you know. His Holiness Dalai Lama also kind of mentioned sometime time to time um, the importance of those Lamrim analytical meditations and so forth. Um, and he used to recite one quotation from one of the teachers and lamas, um, where that I forgot the name of which lama, but His Holiness quite often recite that when the lama made a commitment, you stay in retreat for 3, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, whatever, reciting the mantras, you know, and you finish your nail, but not your delusions, because you're counting, with a nail. So your nail, after counting, I don't know how many 100,000, whatever, billion, thousand, billion, whatever, your nail has become lessen or shorter, but your delusion has not been shorter, and so it can end up like that. But when you really, you know, practice and meditations on Lamrim, then you are really working with your mind. It's not just imagine visualizing. You really, um, you know. So I think. So anyway, I think. So I feel that should be the prioritized for the beginners. Of course, someone who have already have those good strong foundations of Lamrim, bodhicitta, renunciation, emptiness, then prioritizing on generation stage, completion stage, and tantra, then for them, then it can be very powerful and effective. But for those who don't have those strong foundations, I think uh, the priority should be the foundations. You know, that is that's my personal kind of um, feeling and my view. Yeah. So also for the before Buddha explained in sutra, as well as Nagarjuna in his precious garland, um, mentioned, if we purify sincerely and correctly, then there is no negative karma that cannot be purified. There is no negative karma that cannot be purified. And he gave examples of certain individuals, practitioners. During the Buddha's time, there was someone called Angulimala who killed 999 people in life. You know, I don't think Angulimala is his real name, but it's his nickname. Because Angula means nail and Mala means garlands. The garlands of nail. Each time he kills someone, he take the nail and make it. So that was what he was wearing, and his goal was to kill 1,000. So he killed 999, and then he met the Buddhas. He was trying to go after the Buddhas for the last 1,001. You know, but you know, Buddha subdued him. Um, and and then he followed the Dharma, he followed the Buddhas, and he really regretted what he had done and did the purification, continued to walk in his journey, his practice meditation, and he achieved highly realized, high realization even that very lifetime. I think he might have achieved arhat in that very lifetime. And so again, even someone like him, who has created so much negative karma, you know, killing 999 people, destroying so many families. Still, even he was able to achieve and he was able to purify all this negative karma and achieve that highly spiritual realizations. You know, and again, as he follow, purify, and then engage in the path, because of that, changing his mind and that, at one time he was almost killed by the village because after he became monk, they went for begging the food, village to village. And then they reached a village where they recognized him. This was the guy who have killing our families, friends, and they started to beat him up, you know, throw stone and everything. But he was never bitter, angry, upset. By that time he has trained himself, and reached certain point of his. So anyway, um, so in that Nagarjuna's comments, he give examples, the the moon being obscured by the um, clouds. Even it has been obscured by the cloud can be clear, and you can see the the moon clearly. In the same way, your delusion can be like the cloud. Your negative karma delusion can be clear, and then see the true nature of your mind, and then achieve fully enlightenment. And then he give example of few individuals. Angulimala. There was another also at the Buddha's time. Ajanta Satru, um, and he killed his father, who was king, because he wanted to be rule the king. He wanted to rule the. He wanted the king and rule it, but he wouldn't be able as long as his father alive and rule it. So again, of course, longer story, but to keep it short, then he killed his father, and then also he killed his mother indirectly. He lost both his parents in that way, you know. But again, later he regretted it, and he entered the Dharma, followed Buddhas, and again, through practice, he also achieved Arya, state of Arya. you know. So again, and there was another Geshe, I don't know what Sanskrit name, who killed his mother and still again purify and achieve high realization. So those are some of the examples that Nagarjuna gave of those beings. Killing your father and mother is one of the most heaviest negative karma. In, and even someone who have created such heavy negative karma, such as Ajanta Sutra and the Deshe, even them uh, were able to purify and achieve high level realizations. And so again, those are clear example. If we purify, we can really purify and achieve high realizations. Another example was Milarepa himself. At the early life of his life, he killed, you know, other human beings, animals, and but he regretted it. He chose the Dharma, into the path, and then again with practice, he was able to purify and achieve higher realizations. Mm. So then coming to the 35 Buddhas, the practice of purification, 35 Buddhas. Of course, when you do prostrations, you don't always have to be 35 Buddhas. You can do prostration by reciting the refuge as well. You can do prostration by reciting the um, what do you call Bodhisattva mantras. You can do prostrations by reciting other prayers as well. Like for example, in Nyungne, when you do Nyungne, when you do the prostration, then you are reciting the prayers to the Avalokiteshvara, we call Poto. While you are reciting that, then you do the prostration. So therefore, different prayers you can do different, but by reciting 35 Buddhas and doing prostration is traditions that is followed by, as I said, all the Tibetan um, different lineage, and definitely also that is how Lama Tsongkhapa, when he did the purifications and prostrations, that is how also he did, you know. And because each of those 35 Buddhas have made an incredible prayer and dedication when they are on the path, you know, like different Buddhas make different prayer and dedications and inspirations. Just like we all are on path, but we might have all different inspiration, different dedications for sentient beings. Some dedicate, may I be able to free them from illness, sickness. Some might say, may I be able to free them from poverty. Some of them, may I be able. So different. And so when you become fully enlightened, those prayers are perfected and completed. One of the six, there are sometimes 6 parameters, sometimes 10 parameters, 10 perfection in relation to 10 bhumis, and then one of these is the parameter of the prayers. And then when you achieve fully enlightenment, your prayers and become perfected and completed. And through the power of that, because they have made such different prayers and dedications on the path, and then when you recite each name of those, it purifies a certain number of negative karmas with each of those deities, the Buddhas. They have special connection in terms of purification because of their prayers, dedication while they are on the path, their inspirations. And then just by prostrating, just by remembering them, recollecting them, and then cultivating, you know, faith and respect. So even, of course, when you are able to have the strong respect, faith, the practice become more stronger. But even without so much, even just doing prostration, reciting the name, and it's very powerful to do that, you know. And so that is traditionally, you know, some many advice given by the teachers, lamas, and also what we try to do is morning, you know, you try to do 35 Buddha practice of prostrations. Evening, you try to do the Vasasadhava purifications. A lot of practitioners will do that, you know, and that is also one of advice Lama Sopa also give very often. If you can, when you have time, if you can, then that is. So it says, when you do the morning 35 Buddha practice, then you purify all the negative karma that you have created in the last 12 hours after you went to bed, you know. And you do the evening, so you purify all the negative karma you have created throughout the day. So in that way, you create any negative karma that you have created in 24 hours. That is, so therefore, if possible, if you can, if it's one able, then that is the advice that was given by most of the teachers. And so anyway, so that is 35 Buddha practice. And you can see, you know, His Holiness also do that all the time. Maybe now, I'm not sure because of his knee and age, but like there is a movie, I don't documentary, I don't know, BBC or some, where they follow his what he does from morning to evenings, whole day of practice and things. You can see morning he start the frustrations. You know, you can see that. So of course, someone like His Holiness Dalai Lama do frustration and purification. We absolutely need to do. You know, he's the most enlightened beings that in our time. You know, mm. And also it is mentioned. You know, if we in sutras, they says if you are wise, your negative karma can be, even you are created a heavy negative karma, it can be very light. If you are not wise, even you create a very light negative karma, it can become very heavy. And that wise is whether you know how to purify, and if you do purify, if you know how to purify, if you do purifications, then even some negative karma you might have created in the past, heavy one, you can completely purify and make it more lighter. And someone who doesn't know, who's not wise enough, know how to purify, doesn't to purify, then even it's a small negative karma, light negative karma, but it continue to increase, multiply, then it become heavy with the times. You know, so therefore, again, that is being, yeah. And in some teaching, they give you example of, you know, kind of metal, you know, small metal. If you put it in the water, it will sink. Okay, but that metal with what you call with a blacksmith, they flatten it and they make some kind of ball, something, and it will float on the water instead of sinking. You know, so it's just, and so they give that similar kind of example. You know, wise and not wise, singing and not singing. You know, similar example that you find in some. So if you see with the 35 Buddha, confession downfall to the 35 Buddhas. Um, as I mentioned, it is also called the three heap of the three heap sutra. And then the three heaps are like, in this practice, there are three main sections of the practice, you know, confessions and rejoicing and dedication. So these three, in this practice, at the very beginning, it starts with the confessions by reciting the 35 Buddhas. And then there is a rejoicing to the virtues. And then at the end, there is the dedication. And that is why it is called, the title of this is called Three Heap of the Sutras. Sometimes the title, most time you see 35 Buddha practice, but like the actual, the traditional real Pumbu Do, the Sutra of Three Heaps. And this one, again, as I said, it comes from the Sutra from the Buddha himself. The version we recite is slightly different from other versions, like other traditions, because the version we recite, there's a little bit of Lama Tsongkhapa add a little bit to that in our lineage. If you go to the real versions in the Sutra, you know, the first one and other three, four has at the very beginning where it says, to the Tathagata, truly destroying to the Tathagata, they don't have all Tathagata to all 35 Buddhas, but Lama Tsongkhapa add that, you know. Um, well, it started at page 679, where it is a confession downfall. And so all the way it says, with each of Buddhas, where you say to Tathagata truly to the founder, Bhagavan Tathagata, and all like that. So like they say, you see with all Buddhas, starting with Tathagatas, and in the original, from the sutra, there is no Tathagata to all the Buddha's name, only four are different. But they all are Buddha, so Lama Tsongkhapa felt it would be, and so he added Tathagata to all of them. So in our traditions, we do that, but in some other tradition, they might not have that Tathagata to all each of all the 35 Buddhas. So just a, I guess, informations. I don't know whether, you know. Um, and in terms of confessions, there are many different ways to confess, in the practice. Some of those confessions you have to confess in a, within the communities of sanghas, and some of them within the community of 10, some of them within the community of 5, some of them within the community of 4, of fully ordained, and so forth, and then such as this practice, then you can do by yourself, you know. So in the monasteries, like every for 2 weeks they have gathering of confession together, and that is that you have to do in a group, and they need to have to do that ceremony. You need to have at least, four fully ordens, if possible 10, you know, um, and those are again every new moon, every full moon, um, they do that. And for that kind of purification ceremony, then you cannot do by yourself. You need a sangha, and not only monks or nuns, but you need to have at least 4 ordens, fully ordens, or 5, best 10. So those are. But the purification, such as this one, then we can do anytime, anywhere, with any by yourself. Okay. And within this, the practice of 35 Buddha, all four open-end powers are there. All four open-end powers are there. Okay. So again, any practice you do, and especially when you are trying to do Ngöndro in any practice, then definitely you try to start with the bodhicitta motivation. That is important. Okay. You can do extensive bodhicitta motivation or at least short bodhicitta motivation. The motivation to do this practice is to achieve enlightenment in order to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering, causal suffering. So it's not just for yourself or your enlightenment, but it's to benefit or to liberate all sentient beings from the samsara and causal. In order to liberate all sentient beings, then you need to become fully enlightened, fully awakened one. In order to become fully awakened, fully enlightened, then you need to engage in both of the practice path, the 5 path, 10 bhumis, and to practice, then you need to have those spiritual realizations to true loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind, wisdom, realizing emptiness. And to do that, then you need to have you need to meditate, contemplate. And for the success of meditation, contemplation path, then you need the purifications, help, support of the purification, and therefore I'm going to the purifications. So you should be able to relate how this practice, purification, is related to your mind training in your bodhisattva path that lead to the fully enlightenment. So that this practice is not totally kind of unrelated, separate from the mind training. It's something totally unrelated practice from, for the success of your meditation on the path. So have that bodhicitta, by having that bodhicitta motivations, then all the practice you do with that become cause to enlightenment, cause of enlightenment. By the And even you get distracted while you are doing the practice, still by the power of the bodhicitta mind, you still get benefit. A lot of benefit. You know, um, as it is Shantideva mentioned in Guided Book, if you sleep with the bodhicitta motivation, even when there's deep sleep, even in deep sleep, that become virtues. Even that deep sleep, 6 hour your deep sleep, 7 hour, 8 hour, become virtues, cause of enlightenment. Even you are not thinking anything, by the power of that bodhicitta mind, bodhicitta motivations. So therefore, so that trying to have bodhicitta intention, motivation before you practice anything is very important. And so definitely when you are trying to do Ngöndro, definitely we always try to start the sessions. 1 session, 2 session, 3 session, whatever session you're trying to start with the bodhicitta motivations, important. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think, okay, maybe. So here it says, Om Namo Minzu Shiri, Namo Sushi, Namo U, Namo Shiri. So 30 times, multiplying it is multiplying mantras, So when you recite that and when you do the practice, then it multiply, Chumde Didi Shawada Chumayanda Zobe Sange, Rinchen Gelsen La Chak Los. So if you can do 7 times, that is even wonderful. Om Namo Bhagavate Rana Kirtu Ranza Tathagata Arhate Samya Sambuddha Data Om Ratne Rane Maharane Rane Binzai So 7 times, even better. But even you can't do 7 each of them, maybe the first two, Om Namo Minzu Shiri Namo So Shiri Namo Shuriya, maybe 3 times and then each of them 1 time, again, good. So this is kind of, not a part of the actually the the actual practice, 35 Buddha practice. It is kind of added by Lama Zopa Rinpoche, from others' practice, so to help us to multiply and do so. But if you go to the original practice of the 35 Buddha, it is not there. The original 35 Buddha practice, then it starts where it says, homage to the confession, Buddhas of downfall. Even that one is, I think that must have been also by the translators. So then that is where it starts the actual you can say your name through all the time. Take refuge in the Guru, take refuge in the Buddha, take refuge in Dharma, take refuge in the Sangha. So then um, so that is, so with that, while you recite that, you do three prostration, or four to the Guru, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. And each one prostration, you can recite those prayer 3 times, 2 times, 1 time, doesn't matter how many ever within that, but at least one, so prostrate. So when you do 3 times, then you will do three prostrations, at least, with that. Um, So that one, the bodhicitta motivation and this, the refuge while you are prostrating, prostrating the Guru, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, from now until enlightenment with that. That is the first open-end power, the open-end power of the object we talk about, the four open-end power. Yeah, this morning we talk about the four open-end power, the open-end power of reliance or objects, and that's we talk about refuge and bodhicitta. So that complete that power. You see, you start the bodhicitta motivation, so bodhicitta is there, and with this one, that is the refuge. While you are prostrating, I take refuge in the Guru, take with Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. So with that, then while you do prostration, you go for refuge, and again, if you can, while you are doing prostration, while you are taking refuge, um, think the, incredible positive quality of Buddha, Guru, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and try to feel strong confidence, faith, respect, and while you are doing the prostrations, 3 times while reciting that. And again, as we mentioned yesterday, from the king of the prayer, king of the prayer, as we mentioned yesterday, before that you visualize the whole refuge field, Buddha Shakyamuni in the center, and from the heart of the Buddha Shakyamuni, so you think is again we talked yesterday, is your guru. If you have guru, if you don't have guru, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you have guru, then you think it's your guru, many guru, then is my root guru in the form of that Buddha Shakyamuni. And from his heart, then, rays of light comes, of 34. And each of those rays, then there are 35 Buddhas. And in terms of 35 Buddhas, there are different color, different postures, sometimes holding different implements and so forth. So sometimes it might be a little bit difficult to visualize all of that 35. No, those are but then Pabonga Rinpoche, yeah, similar like here too. Yeah. So here, of course, if you can visualize here, the heart of Buddha Shakyamuni also is Cherisik, the Buddha of compassions. And if you can visualize, if you cannot visualize, then Buddha Shakyamuni. If you can visualize, then Cherisik, and they are inseparable. From the heart of Cherisik, then you know, light will raise this 35 plus the 7 medicine Buddha here. So that will be 42. You know, and here the other deities you can visualize if you can visualize. Otherwise, mainly you visualize those 35 Buddha, and if you add the 7 medicine Buddha, when sometimes you say 8 medicine Buddha, sometimes 7 medicine Buddha. When Buddha Shakyamuni is included, then it becomes 8. When Buddha Shakyamuni not included, 7. So since Buddha Shakyamuni is already here, then there's only 7 of them here. No, so and this is Kunji, this is Vajrasattva, and this is Namgyalma. This one, I think the colors is mistake. It should be blue. It's a Mitupa, also powerful for purifications. And these are just offering goddess, and also these are offering goddess. The 7 or 8 offerings. And so this is more easy way of visualizing. You know, the first 6 in the row in the same color, same posture, the first 7 Buddhas. First in our prayer is start with prostrating Buddha Shakyamuni, so that's the main one. Then the next 6 are in this all blue. The only difference is the third one with the Luangi Gyabo, the king of the Naga, that Buddha. His face is white, you know, and his postures is like that. Otherwise, all are in the same posture, and then the next is all 7 in the same color, same posture, and then next one is like Ranas, that's the same posture, same color, and then Amitabha's same as Amitabha's, you know, same color, same posture, and then what do you call Amakasiddhi, and all of that. And then these are the 8 medicine Buddhas. So it should be 7 here. 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. So Shakyamuni is there. So that is one more easy visualizations. And this one way, you know. In some other form, then they are very different posture and different colors, and it will be more harder. But when you do that, okay. And also, in term of, and you can buy this posture from, I think FMD, I don't know they still have or not, but they have, if they used to have, you know, poster of that. You can, if you order small ones, if it helps for your visualizations, you know, and probably, and so there are 3 ways when you do the recite the name of each Buddha and prostrate. Okay. One, you start from the very beginning and finish the whole this practice. And again, you repeat from the very first, beginning and end. So you just keep on repeating on how many ever you want to do, how many long you want to do. You know, you want to go 1 set, 2 set, 3 set, 4 set, from beginning of practice to the end of the practice. That is one way. Another way to do is you start from the beginning and you go until the names 35 Buddha, and if you want to add this 8 medicine Buddha, you add there, and you just recite the all 35 Buddha plus 8 medicine Buddhas, and then again you go back and just keep reciting the 35 Buddha names and the medicine Buddha if you add that. How many ever you want to do. And the last session, then you go through the whole practice. Are we clear? Okay. And the third possibility for visualizations that could be more easier is, you can just recite the first name, Buddha Shakyamuni, 50 times or 100 times, and then how many ever you want to do, how many ever prostration you want to do, 100 prostration or, 200 prostration, 300 prostration, just reciting one Buddha's name, and then all other you do one at the end and complete that, or you can just, until you finish 100,001 Buddha, you just finish 100,001 Buddha, and next then 100,000 Buddhas, Of course, at each session you try to end all with doing all of them, but you just focus on one Buddha each time. So no, it wouldn't be 100,000 each, because then that would be 3,500,000 for straight. Even though that sounds good. Yeah, this says, yeah. So you can calculate, 35 plus what, if you include the medicine Buddhas, then 42, So if you divide into, 100,000 into that, how many times you have to recite each of Buddha's name. So you just do with each of them. So it will be easy, because then you are just keeping one visualization all the time. And when you move next visualizations, then again you can, because you can focus on that instead of changing visualization so often, is much more harder. Even though this is easier because it's kind of 7-7 set, but still, if you just have to do, and so in that way, so that is one way of doing it. There are 3 different way of doing it, and I can see how many it comes. Did you divide it? It's about 2,000. No, 2,000 is enough. I don't think so. How many thousands? I don't know. How do we do the 0.95? No, 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 no. No. Okay, so you can do that way, Each of that Buddha each, and in that way, it's easy for the visualization. You don't have to change all the time, just one. You can do 3,000 each of them. Each of them, that will be, if you add that 7 medicine Buddha. If you don't add, then number will go a little up. So again, if you can add it, then that is again. So in terms of that is how. Okay. Yes. It's Nicole.
I have a very bad memory about this, but there's something about on the first day, you only do one prostration and then you add each additional day. And then if you miss, basically look at the first day, if you start with like 100 prostrations and then you miss, then there's some like it makes it more difficult for you. So the first day you do one, and then you have to do a certain number every day consecutively. But I don't remember how it
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
I'm just wondering if you can,
Again,
if that's
I think
important.
traditionally, as I said, I think it's more difficult. So everything have loosened a little bit up, nowadays. But traditionally, what they do is, what number you do first day, and that's true with any of the Ngöndros, whether it's mandala, whether it's frustration, or whether it's refuge, whatever. Even with when we start the retreat with any deities, the number of the mantra we do, first day they say it's better to start with small. So, because until you finish, you have to do at least that number. Okay? At least you have to do that same number what you started. So sometimes you might get sick, sometimes you might not feel well. So even you cannot do 100, but at least if you have started with 3, at least you can do 3. So you don't, because you don't want to break that until you completed it. So you start with a small number, and then from the second day you can do as many as possible. It doesn't. You can generally lot of retreat included in the Ngöndro. What the advice of the masters is you build up slowly, and then again you reach the point in the middle. You do long more, and then slowly again you kind of make it shorter and shorter, less and less. Sometimes they give example like the what they call the grain of the um, barley. You know, in the middle is thick and two side kind of smaller. So even in retreat, is whatever retreat you do, you start relax, less session, shorter sessions, and slowly, slowly, you can build up more sessions, longer sessions, and then you reach, build up, and very in the middle, where you have the most session, more longer session, and then again slowly, slowly after that, and again you started to kind of reduce, slowly, slowly, and it's a skillful means uh, because you don't want to push yourself from the very beginning. You take it easy and slowly build up. Okay. Sometimes we have enthusiasm at the very beginning. Then we push ourselves too much at the very beginning, and then we push so down, and then we cannot complete it because we just kind of push. So building up slowly, but building. And when it come to ending, then again you try to take it easier and easier, because when you end the retreat, Ngöndro or non-Ngöndro retreat, when you end the retreat, that you are more relaxed because it's less sessions, less long sessions. Your mind is more relaxed, your body is more relaxed. And then next time when you think of retreat, your memory is a good memory. You ended the retreat in a nice note. But if you end your retreat with very tiring and very, very tiring, very frustrated, not good, then next time when you think retreat, you have bad memory of that, the image of that, and it doesn't inspire you for the next, because what you remember is the last day of that, you know. And so again, that is a kind of skillful means that the meditator, the masters have found themselves, and then that is their advice. That is how we, and so, um, yeah, and that is not only for that should be applied for any kind of retreat, any whatever form of meditation or practice you do, you know. So with that, yeah, a refuge. So that is, I think with that, yeah. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Oh, I think you said for any Ngöndro that we do, we should have a commentary or no?
It's better if you have.
If you have a commentary, so
If
why?
we have the transmissions and commentary, then it's much better. You know, in s- in some lineage, the teacher will give the commentary or transmission, and then they will do together for some days. The practice, and in that way, then everyone get the lineage, transmission, commentaries, and then they start doing it. But sometimes, of course, if we don't have access to all of that, then everything's about managing. You know, if the best will be that if you don't have that, then how can we manage in a way that in whatever we can, you know. But that will be the best if there is an opportunity to do that.
But we can just read on our own or see if there's a YouTube video on those
Yeah,
teachings. Okay.
definitely. You try
Okay.
to read the commentary wherever possible, wherever you can find, commentary, watch it. That there's no doubt just before you do the practice, at least know about the practice, a little bit
Okay.
by doing the reading and commentary and all of that, because it will be more health beneficial when you know um, how to do correctly in the right way. So, and yeah, and if you can find the oral transmission, and sometimes commentaries, sometimes the teachers might not have time to give a very depth or detailed commentary, but even if they give very short commentaries, still it kind of you have that kind of the transmissions, of the commentaries. Sometimes a lot of even his holiness, sometimes when he gives commentary on the lamrim, he will give just explanation a little bit here and there, not so much. Mostly is so it is not only oral transmission but including the commentaries, and not extensive commentary, but that you still get the commentary, the transmission of the commentaries. Yeah. So that if 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 we can do that, then it will be very good. But
Okay.
if not, then yeah.
Okay. And then one last question. If you
Is that
do,
really last question?
from me, it's kind of impossible. But if we do find a commentary, and if it's a long one, I won't be able to read it right before, so I can read while I'm going.
Oh,
Though, yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank
Um,
you.
Normally, whatever meditation we do or practice we do, whether it's a Ngöndro, whether it's a Lamrim, whether it's a daily practice, of course, we try to study right before we do the retreat, as well as we study while we are doing retreat, so it's more fresh. You are doing the visualizations or contemplations, analyzing or whatever, but still you are, when you have time, you still read and study, mostly on the very subject that you are on the
Practicing.
retreat, so it is more fresh in your mind. Yeah.
Thank you, Geshe.
Yes, please.
Are some places more auspicious to do Ngöndro than other places?
Places?
Yeah.
Well, this is, like either it's Ngöndro or any retreat, is of course, if we can do in certain holy places where the masters have blessed the places through their presence, through their practice meditations, this can be more powerful because it's a place that many practitioners have practiced and achieved enlightenment or high realizations, which have been blessed by those present of those beings, not only just present where they meditated, contemplated, and achieved realization. So yeah, that is why a lot of people try to go to some place like Bodh Gaya to do practice, even though it's very crowded and distracting, but still people make an effort to go there. If you do it at home, it's less distractions. Not many people. There is so many people. You know, and so mainly because of that, because of the blessing of the place. So if we can do that, but again, it's kind of there is two sides. One side is a holy place, blessed place. Another side is too much distractions. Everyone's going, comings, a lot of pujas happening with the sound speakers. While you are trying to practice, people coming and giving tea and bread and money. So there is a lot of distractions. It's hard to focus fully in your practice. But there is that blessing part that also is something special. Sometimes you can have a special feelings and those because of the blessing. So, you know, um, there is both that kind of, like many things, pro and cons, Um, yeah, I did one time 35 Buddha, not 35 Buddha, but prostrations. Um, for the first maybe 70,000, there was less people because we went a little earlier. Um, and then in the next, so many people came in. Then it was easy to be focused. Again, as I said, while you are prostrating, people will come and give tea, bread, and offerings, and all kind of things. So then, I did myself another time by myself without all these distractions. So again, there is both sides in that. But like if there is a blessed place like that, or any other blessed place where blessed by a presence of the enlightened beings and not so many distractions like that, then that would be quite suitable places. But again, you by yourself doing the practice in certain places and then you achieve realization, you bless that place. You don't go to the blessing place, you bless the new place. Yeah, you can bless it, you know. So yeah.
And I suppose if your guru came to your place, then that place is blessed.
Yeah,
Boom.
sure.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just asked how you keep count with a counter.
yeah.
Okay.
In frustrations, some people have this what you call counter ring. They just type number, each time. In all, this is a new technology. All times, all time, people will have, like, for example, with a small mala or mala there where you can reach, and each time you finish, you just pull one, and then it become 100. Each 100, then you pull this one. This is 100, and by this is 10,000. Oh, 1,000. Sometimes they have three of them. Then each of them, then this is 1,000, and then each of them 1,000, and each of them. So that is count. That's what they call counter, mala counter. I think that is what they call. There is that part, and sometimes people put, like small grain or stone in one side. Each time they put that side, so they know there's number, 50 or 100, and when they all finish it, then it's 100. There are different way people use differently. And sometimes you just in the 35 Buddha, 35 Buddha plus 7 medicine Buddha is 42, and then at the very beginning the refuge 3, then that is 45. So each round is 45 at least. So then you count each round, and then with that you know how much. So yeah, that is for the counting. Yeah. Uh, so then next one is the opening power of the antidotes. The opening power. So we just up to here we finish opening power of the object or the lines, and now next reciting the 35 Buddha name and the medicine Buddha. Then that is here the opening power of the antidotes. In these cases, you recite their name, and then you prostrate, and you try to recollect and remember the Buddha's qualities, enlightened qualities. So then by frustrating with your body, you purify the negative karma created by the body. By reciting the names of the Buddha, you purify the karma created by your speech. By recollecting the excellent qualities of the Buddhas and cultivating the faith, the respect, then you purify the negative karma created by your mind. So through that, then you purify the negative karma created through body, speech, and mind. In that, the negative karma created through the body, through the prostrations, the body, by reciting the name of the Buddhas, purify the negative karma created by the speech, and by recollecting the Buddha's qualities and kindness, and then through that you develop strong faith and respect, and that purifies all the negative karma created by the mind. So purifying negative karma created by all three um, doors. So here to the founder, Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, glorious congregation Shakyamuni Buddha, I prostrate. So that is for the first one, Buddha Shakyamuni in the center. Again, there is a meaning with each word. I don't think I'm going to go each of them. What the founder, Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly complete each of them. We don't. You can read commentaries on those. I'm not going to go in each of that. And I'm not going to go all of them, but just to give little ideas, so we remember mm, yeah, to remember the benefit of that, um, how many negative karma that it purify, and again it is explained into one of the Nagarjuna's commentary to this sutra, and this one is not by the Nagarjuna, but there is one by the Nagarjuna as well. And in here he says, mm, by reciting the name and prostrating to the first Buddha, the Buddha Shakyamuni, it purify negative karma created for 10,000 aeons of negative karma, and then also second one also, purify negative karma was 10,000 eons, and then third one, 20,000 eons, and so forth. So I'm not going to eat, just to give some ideas. Again, the benefit of that, even just reciting the name, you purify and that. And on top of just reciting, if you prostrate, even more powerful. Not only prostrate, but if you have that strong faith and respect with that mind, then even more powerful. So it become even. And as I mentioned before, the how much it purify with all this, how many eons of negative karma it purify by reciting and prostrating, again because of all the incredible prayer dedication they made on the path, and so also is kind of related with a little bit with that, you know. Again, in Buddhism, even though the most important is your own practice, your own mind, but also there is a concept, especially Vajrayana, also the power of the power of the object as well. It's not just yourself, but also there's a power object too. in Buddhism is the combinations. It's not just everything's happened from there, from the Buddhas. You just pray and you just believe and pray, and then they will take care of everything. It's not like that. But it doesn't mean there's no power from the objects. There's also power from the objects, and there should be. There should be. Not only in the sutras and all these teachings they say, but even among human beings, some human beings have more power in certain departments. Some people have more energy, healing energies, powers. Some people have more other energies or other powers more than oneself. Then, of course, the more enlightened being, the arhat, has more power than ourselves. Of course, the bodhisattvas has more power than the arhat in ourselves. And of course, the Buddha has more power than ourselves. To believe that fully enlightened doesn't have any kind of power to help and in a certain way, in a certain level, then again, that is also our human arrogant mind. So so there is also and so because of that, that is how by it's different between if you prostrate by reciting your name and prostrating by reciting the Buddha's name. Okay, even though it's reciting someone's name and prostrating, and even said there's a difference between reciting your name and prostrating and reciting the Buddha's name and reciting. And even the Buddha's name, there are so many different Buddhas, and then again, each of the Buddhas, because of their training, because of their dedications, prayers, aspiration at when they are on the path as a bodhisattvas, when they become enlightened, they have certain different functionings, and for different things, and some more strongly related with the healing, some more related with compassion, wisdom, some for prayer, and some for pure land, and so different, and so these are kind of for the purification, more powerful for purifications, so maybe you might want to recite your name and check it out, maybe. Yes, please.
You mentioned power prayers and dedications. What are the difference between those for the Buddhas?
Yeah, prayers, you can, it's aspirations or prayer. You can have any kind of aspirations. You can have any kind of inspiration. You can make any kind of inspiration prayers. Dedications, to dedicate, you need some substance to dedicate something. For prayer, you don't need kind of substance. For the dedications, so you create some virtues and then you dedicate that virtues. For prayer, you don't need something created, whatever we say, virtues, merit, positive energy, whatever. You can just make any prayer, any inspiration. But for the dedication, then you need something to dedicate. So you must have created some positive karma, virtues, merit, whatever. So that is the slightly different between dedication and prayer. So in one way, if we talk from kind of debate point of view, when we do debate, we talk about four possibility, and in that sense, if it is dedication, it must be prayer, but not all prayer are dedications. Dedication, all dedication are part of prayer, but not all the prayer are dedications. Mm. So therefore, I will not go with each of them, what different negative karma it purify, and how many eons of negative karma it purify by reciting each of names. I will, so here the power of antidote is reciting the name of Buddha and prostrating. That is the opponent power here. Okay. To the Tathagata truly destroying the Vasa Isin, I prostrate. To the Tathagata radiant jewel, I prostrate. To the Tathagata king, lord of the Nagas, I prostrate. To the Tathagata army of heroes, I prostrate. To the Tathagata delighted hero, I prostrate. To the Tathagata jewel fire, I prostrate. To the Tathagata jewel moonlight, I prostrate. To the Tathagata meaningful to see, I prostrate. To the Tathagata jewel moon, I prostrate. To the Tathagata stainless one, I prostrate. To the Tathagata bestow with courage, I prostrate. To the Tathagata pure one, I prostrate. To the Tathagata bestow with purity, I prostrate. To the Tathagata water god, I prostrate. To the Tathagata deity of the water god, I prostrate. To the Tathagata glorious goodness, I prostrate. To Tathagata glorious sandalwood, I prostrate. To Tathagata infinite splendor, I prostrate. To the Tathagata glorious light, I prostrate. To the Tathagata sorrowless glory, I prostrate. To the son of non-craving, I prostrate. To the Tathagata glorious flower, I prostrate. To the Tathagata pure light rays, clearly knowing by play, I prostrate. To the Tathagata lotus light rays, clearly knowing by play, I prostrate. To Tathagata glorious well, I prostrate. To Tathagata glorious mindful, I prostrate. To Tathagata glorious name, widely renowned, I prostrate. To Tathagata king, holding the victorious banner of the foremost power, I prostrate. To the Tathagata glorious one, totally subduing, I prostrate. To Tathagata utterly victorious in battle, I prostrate. To Tathagata glorious stands through subduing, I prostrate. To Tathagata glorious manifestation, illuminating all, I prostrate. To Tathagata all subduing jewel lotus, I prostrate. To Tathagata Arhat perfectly completed Buddha, king of lord of mountain, firmly seated on jewel and the lotus, I prostrate. Here again it says 3. You can do 3. So if you do 3, then again you can, instead of 47, then it become 49 if you count around, Again, yeah, and I guess this must be the advice by Rinpoche doing the 3, the last one. And then 7 Buddha, 7 medicine Buddha. To the Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat perfectly completed Buddha, renowned glorious king with excellence, and I prostrate. To the Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat perfectly complete Buddha, king of melody sound, brilliant radiance of skill, adorning the jewel, moon, and lotus, I prostrate. To the Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat fully completed Buddha, stainless excellent gold, illuminating jewel, who accomplished all contact, I prostrate. To the Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat perfectly completed Buddha, glorious supreme one, free from sorrow, I prostrate. To the Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat perfectly completed Buddha, melodious oceans of proclaimed Dharma, I prostrate. To the Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat perfectly completed Buddha, glory clearly knowing by the flavor of supreme wisdom of ocean of Dharma, I prostrate. To the Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat perfectly completed Buddha, medicine guru, king of lustly light, I prostrate. All those U35 Buddhas and others such as the 8 medicine Buddha or 7 medicine Buddha and all others Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of 10 direction of 3 times, as we mentioned yesterday, from the King of Prayer. So you visualize mainly in front them, but behind them, then all others Buddhas of 10 directions and of past, present, future. Even though we don't visualize each of them clearly, like here, but um, feeling and present of all of them and visualizing they all are there, so all others. And as many Tathagatas are perfectly complete Buddha as they are existing, existing, sustaining, and residing in all the world system of 10 directions, all you Buddhas, Bhagavan, please pay attention to me. So I think they are existing, sustaining, residing are like 3 times, past, present, futures. In all the whole system of 10 direction. All of you Buddhas, Bhagavan, please pay attention to me. So then here, I'm going to confess and do purifications. Please be the witness for my practice of confession and purification. So pay attention, me, hear me, requesting then to be the witness and in my practice of confession and purifications. Mm. And then next one is the power of, so up to here is the power of the opening power antidote, okay? And next it start the opening power of regret, as I mentioned before, the positive regret, So the positive regret is again recollecting the different negative karma or the unwholesome actions that we have created, and then acknowledging, recognizing, acknowledging, and then confessing and bearing, without hiding. We share it in front of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That is what I have done in the past, and I regret, I feel sorry, I recognize that was unhealthy, unhelpful, by hurting sentient beings, by having negative thoughts towards the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, holy beings, so on. And so, and the stronger our understandings of karma, the more stronger regret we have. So again, in order to have strong regret, we need to contemplate, meditate on karma, the law of cause and effect, how each of our negative, unwholesome actions have negative consequences, on many different levels. How each of our, negative karma or unwholesome action, whether it's created by ourselves, whether we ask someone to create, or whether we rejoice in others' creations, or whether we create by body, speech, and mind, or all of them, whatever, whether it's out of attachment, anger, whatever, each of those negative karma or actions has many different negative consequences, harming others, harming ourselves, in terms of producing the resultant ripening result, in terms of producing similar result, in terms of action, in terms of experience, producing the result of environmental results. So there are not only just one result, many results. So when the more you understand that, the more you will be more mindful, careful, and the more you will not want to create such actions, and the more we regret for having done that in the past. So the whole thing is try to avoid creating such negative karma from now as much as possible. And for all that we have already created past, then we regret and then we purify. So that is, and so here then it is recollecting different negative karma that we have created, so that in this life, in this life, whatever negative karma we have created since our birth until now, through body, speech, and mind, and all the state of rebirth in which I have circled in the samsara throughout beginner's life, So again, even though we cannot remember past lives and what we did in past life, but we have created a lot of negative karma in the past from the beginner's lifetime. So again, we purify all of them by acknowledging all of them. Whatever negative actions, that one have created, by oneself or made other to create, sometimes they say is even more negative karma, even stronger negative karma. Instead of creating yourself, making other to create. Not only you contribute, but you made others to contribute in that. So they say that is negative karma even stronger, and rejoice in the creation of, rejoicing in the negative karma creation of yourself or by creation of others, and then other negative karma that we might have, whatever possession of stupa, possession of sangha of 10 direction, I've appropriated, So stupa, I don't know, stupa is the right translation, but object of offerings. Choden means it could be stupa, because in English when you say stupa, it just means that. But in Tibetan, choden means object of offerings, and so that means the Buddha. It means the Buddha themselves, the Dharma themselves, and anything stupa statue that represent Buddha and Dharma, all of them. And so any position that was being offered to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and Guru, if we misuse it, without permit, without being permission to use it, if we use it, then again it's a big negative karma, that I have appropriated, made other appropriate, or rejoice in appropriation of whichever among the, and then 5 action or immediate retributions I have done, which are the killing of, Arhat, killing of your father, killing of mothers, dividing the sanghas, into divisions, and then wounding the Buddhas with the negative thoughts, ill will thoughts. So those are those 5, and they are known as the heavy negative karma, and is immediate retribution. If we don't purify, then the very next life, you can take a rebirth in lower rebirth, so without interruptions in between. So that is why it's called, which one have done or cause other to done or rejoice in doing, whatever path of 10 non-virtues, and such as other 10 non-virtues, which I have engaged in to cause other to engage or rejoice in engaging in. So again, those 10 non-virtuous actions, such as taking the life of others, stealing, engaging in sexual misconduct, lying, engaging in divisive speech, engaging into harsh speech, engaging into meaningless idle gossips, and then greediness or covetousness mind, ill will feeling, and a wrong view. Those are 10 non-virtuous actions, and we try to avoid those 10 non-virtuous actions. So whatever negative, 10, any of them or all of them that we have created in the past, in this life, or in the many other lifetimes. So again, remembering all of them, and again, confessing them, and to purify them. Whatever I have created being obscured by those karma caused me and sentient beings to be born in the hell realms, in the animal realms, in the preta realm, in the those are the 8 places or 8 states where you don't have opportunity to practice the Dharma, no freedom to practice the Dharma, or the opportunity to practice the Dharma where it's very limited, So then you don't want to be born in such situation or state. You are born, then even when you are the best situation, it's not easy to practice Dharma. We all know, with this precious human life, we have the best conducive conditions to practice. But even that is not easy, we find. So then when you are in any of those states, then it's not impossible, but it becomes extremely challenging, very difficult. So therefore, and even you were born in human beings in religious country as a barbarian or as a long life god, even in a human realms with imperfect faculties, holding wrong view and not being pleased with the Buddha's descent. In the presence of the Buddha Bhagawan, who are transcendental wisdom, who are eyes, who are witness, mm, who are violet and who see the omniscience, and I'm admitting, so admitting, acknowledging, and confessing by recognizing them, confessing all these negativities. I will not conceal them nor hide them. And from now on, in the future, I will abstain and refrain from committing them. So they're here. I will not conceal them and not hide them. Up to there is then the power of the open-end power of regret. You recollect each of those negative karma that we have created, or ask others to create, or rejoice in creating others. We recognize and we acknowledge and we confess without hiding them. And that is the third. And then the fourth open-end power of is the open-end power or resolutions. Strong resolution that I will. Now I understand this is mistake. Now I understand that it's a very harmful and non-virtuous and unhealthy. Now I will not do it. So that is where I will and from now on in the futures I will abstain and refrain from the committing them again. And so that is that open power or resolutions. And then next one is rejoicing the virtues of yourself and others. So again, invoking and then again asking them to be the witness for our that. All Buddhas, Bhagavan, please pay attention to me in this life and in others. State of rebirth in which I've circled in samsara throughout beginner's lifetime. Whatever root of virtues I've created by generosity, or and in terms of generosity, even the little, such as very little, and giving just one mouthful of food, very small, and to a being born in the animal realm, just one and just small food and just for one animal, for example, up to all the big virtues that we have created, smallest to biggest virtues that we have created. Whatever roots of virtue I have created by guarding my morality, whatever root of virtues I have created by following pure conduct, So, following the pure conduct, the practice of patience, whatever root of virtues I've created by fully ripening the sentient being through the practice of joyous effort in virtues, whatever root of virtues I've created by generating both chitta through the meditative concentrations, and whatever root of virtue that I've created by my unsurprised transcendental wisdom. So any of the practice that we have engaged, any of the 6 parameter practice, the practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joys, even virtues, meditative concentration, and wisdom, through any of those practices, whatever virtue I have created, all those assembly and gather, combined together, I fully dedicate. So this is the what you call dedication. Dedicated to the unsurprised, unsurpassed. Unsurpassed is the the Dharmakaya body, and the unexcellent is the Rupakaya, the 2 bodies. The highest, then the highest, which is the Sambhogakaya, and the superior to the superior, which is the Nirmanakaya. So the four body of the Buddhas, So dedicating all these virtues to achieve fully enlightenment, or the Buddhahood, of the 4 bodies, you know, 4 kayas, 4 kayas. Thus, I completely dedicate to the highest perfect complete enlightenment. And then, we can kind of like yesterday from the king of prayer, king of the prayer, similarly, just as the previous Buddha, Bhagavan have fully dedicated, just as the future fully Bhagavan have fully dedicated, just as the presently abiding Buddha Bhagavan has fully dedicated, like that, I do dedicate fully. So again, to keep it simple, quite easy, then saying, however, the past, present, future dedicated, I also dedicate just like themselves. May all my dedication be like the same as the dedication made by the Buddha of past, present, futures. So And of course, that is limitless. That is limitless dedication, limitless prayer, aspiration that Buddha had made. And then the seven limb practice comes later. I confess all negativity individually. I rejoice. So that is then rejoicing all the merit. That is the merit. I urge and implore all the Buddhas to grant my request. Implore, um, implore all the Buddhas to turn the wheel of Dharma and granting my request by to live until samsara ends. So, and may I receive the highest, most sublime transcendental wisdom. So dedication. So in that, then the seven limb practice, very short, included all other seven limb practices, and also with the prostrating and reciting them. Also, you make offerings. So offering is included there. To the concurrent base of human who are living in the present time, those who have lived in the past, those who will likewise come, to all of those who have quality as vast as infinite ocean with handful, I approach for the refuge. So that is the 35 Buddhas. Okay. I thought I might have time to do the Vajrasattva's, but we didn't have. So anyway, so I will do the maybe in Tibet and the oral transmission, even though I did recite the English. Also, this I also received from the same teacher, Kensur Lobsang, Kensur Ken Rinpoche's Singye-la. Okay, so with that is also the oral transmissions.
Can we
So,
offer
any
short
questions?
Can we do a quick short mandala?
Yeah. Well, I can take questions if anyone has any questions before we. Anyone, any questions on online? Good. Okay. Thumbs up. So anyone thumbs down here?
Earth must have a question. Come on, Earth.
So if no question, no pressure. We just do the dedications. Yeah. Don't need to feel pressure to ask. If you have, but please, yeah, Nicole. Yeah.
Geshe-la, I was wondering about the tune, if you recited in Tibetan and then you did it for us. If we were to recite it in Tibetan, but we don't speak Tibetan and we don't know the meaning of it, is it the same benefit? Or is it important for us to do it in English if we don't speak Tibetan?
Well, I think what I go is in Tibetan, so I do in Tibetan, and I think most Lama seems to do that, even His Holiness. So, but I did recite the English while we went through. So basically the meaning, because there is English translation and what we did. Normally, the oral transmissions is you don't really have to understand it. You just have to hear it correctly, soundly, not missing that. So in terms of oral transmission itself, what the teacher says is, you don't have to understand, but you should hear the word, the sound, whether even you don't understand it. So, yeah. Yeah.
When we do the prostrations, can we do?
Yeah, in English. You do in English.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You do in English. So, I think, did we mention yesterday? I think maybe I mentioned a little bit when talking about the refuge. You can do in Sanskrit, you can do in Tibetan, you can do in English, any of them, whatever you feel more connected, and so I think for most people it would be better do in English, so because so yeah, that wouldn't be, if it's the mantra because of the sound and because there is some special energy with a particular sound and all of that, that will be slightly different. And so even in Tibetan, we don't do those mantra in Tibetan, even though there's translation of that, we still do in Sanskrit. But with the other practice, pray, you can do in English, no problem. Yeah, and it may be even better.
So I've heard that some people record themselves of the names while they do prostrations, and that's pretty
Yeah,
okay.
either there are some recorded by some other teachers, Venerable Rupina, Venerable Sara, and others, But again, maybe they might be following their pace, and if you want to follow your pace, you can recite yours, record yourself and play. And you try to memorize, and you try to also memorize, and you try to recite together sometime. So if you play at the same time, you are reciting together, so that would be that's so helpful. But again, sometimes there are recitation by other teachers, um, especially you find someone by your teacher, it might be nice, but not other teachers. But also sometimes maybe the pace might not be same with your pace when you are prostrating. Maybe they are reciting too fast and you are not prostrating to that pace enough. So then, in those cases, then you can kind of record yourself according to the pace that you can do, and you can play and you can recite together with that. So yeah. Yeah, then we can. Yes, Nicole.
Geshe-la, I think I heard you say today that traditionally you would sit on the same cushion in the same spot to do the entire retreat. And I've just been thinking, if you can't spend the whole retreat period in like a holy place like Bodh Gaya, but you could do part of the retreat in Bodh Gaya,
Yeah.
would that be beneficial? And would it be best to start the retreat in Bodh Gaya or end the retreat in Bodh Gaya? Does it matter?
Doesn't matter. You can start there or you can finish there. That would be nice. Either to start from there, even you can't do a whole thing there, but to be able to start or able to end there. Yeah.
Would that be better than doing it in one place on one cushion as like traditionally recommended? Or would it be better, like more blessings or advantageous to do part of it in the holy place?
I would say you can do it one place, traditional, and then when you have opportunity to go to Bodh Gaya, you can do the same practice without having to count or in that number, but you can do as many as possible, without even you have done, let's say, frustration or mandala, whatever, you can still go in there for a couple of days or weeks or whatever, So you don't have to count that because you have already done that, but you can take time and really just to practice slowly as many as possible. Yeah. So yeah, we can do the dedications. Dedication prayers.
Okay, dedication. We do English. English. Okay. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel Bodhisattva that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Long life prayer for His Holiness Dalai Lama. The wish granting, wish fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. To the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, fearless teacher and assembly of the children of victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge, infinite lands. Please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that's never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of victorious one's teaching, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of Buddhista of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for the fortunate disciples.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And see you later. Those who are coming later. Thank you. Thank you. Good night.